Hi, I'm Luann Worley with Rockin Book Reviews, and I'm so pleased today to be here with Catina Haverlock and Angela Larkin. Um, they are debuting their book, and I read it and it was wonderful. And I'm excited to learn more about them, and I hope you'll join us in learning too. Are you sisters?
Yeah. We are.
I wondered. So how did you come up with the idea of writing a book together?
Well,
go ahead, Jean.
Go ahead, Ann. Okay, so I actually had the idea. It came to me one morning while I was cooking breakfast for my kids, and I'd never written a book. I had written professionally and for pleasure, but never a book. And this idea came to me while I was stirring eggs. I shut the stove off and said, "Kids, it's cereal today," and sat down at the computer and started typing out my ideas. And then as I started sharing my ideas with Angela, we both just had so many ideas for the story. And Angela's an incredible, phenomenal writer. And so I said, "Hey, why don't we write this together? Wouldn't that be fun?" And so that's how we decided to write together.
That's exciting. You did really well. Okay, and where did you grow up?
Well, we have grown up all over Nevada, pretty much. We were born in a little rural town in Nevada called Tonopah, and then we spent 10 years in Reno, around the Tahoe area where the book is set. So we have a lot of good memories and a lot of experience up in that area, and that's why we chose that setting. And then we both moved to Central Nevada again and did some time there. I did junior high and high school there, and Catina graduated her senior year there. And then we both went to school down in Las Vegas at UNLV. So we've been all over Nevada.
I raised my family in Las Vegas.
Oh, did you?
Very well acquainted with Tonopah.
Funny.
Yeah, for 32 years we lived there.
Oh, wow.
So, okay. Catina, after earning a BA in broadcast and print journalism, you made several TV and radio appearances to discuss autism. What motivated you to do this?
So I have 4 children, and my oldest child, Adam, developed autism shortly after his first birthday, regressive autism. And so that really rocked our world. And when he received his diagnosis, that was at a time where there wasn't a lot of resources, support, or information available regarding autism. And so I had to do a lot of research on my own to figure out how to best help him. And so I was very, very motivated to help other parents, because I wished that at the time of his diagnosis, I would have had a parent hold my hand and hold my heart and tell me that everything was going to be okay. So I decided to become an expert on several different components of autism, and was asked on several occasions to share what I had learned. Another thing is that I opened an autism school in Las Vegas, and so it was the first of its kind. And so there were many, many interviews, newspaper and television interviews relating to the school that I opened.
Now that is quite difficult because there's so many different forms of autism, correct?
Right. It's called the autism spectrum. And so a wide variety of symptoms, wide variety of strengths and abilities. And so if you've met one individual with autism, you've met one individual with autism. There are no stereotypes or generalities to be made, for sure.
I believe it. I've known 2 people with autism, and I mean, they were totally different.
Right. Yes.
Couldn't work with them the same, children.
Absolutely.
Angela, you have had some interesting careers. Tell us where and why you became a gold miner.
Well, if you've lived in Las Vegas for a long time, you know there are a lot of miners in Nevada. And so when I lived in Central Nevada and I graduated from high school, the town that I lived in, Round Mountain, had a gold mine. That's the main industry there. And they had a program for college kids that we could work there through the summers to earn money for the next year of college. And so I spent 5 summers working in a gold mine. I've done everything from wearing a respirator and steel toe boots with a shovel in hand, digging underground, to driving forklifts, to working in the accounting department right next to the safe where they would roll the gold nuggets into the safe. I worked in a warehouse at the mine. I've driven a delivery truck. You name it, I've done it all. Hard hat and safety glasses on, and driving by those haul trucks. Yeah. So that was really kind of a unique experience. It taught me that I wanted to go to school because that was really hard work. And I think I made a good choice in doing that. I really admire those miners that can do that day after day. It was some of the hardest work I've ever done.
You didn't strike it rich then.
Well, they paid really well, but I was too much of a princess for that hard work, I think.
I can understand. Okay. You hosted your own dating show, Catina. When, and what? When, where, and why?
So as I was obtaining my degree at UNLV, I was doing a lot of news, live TV news reporting, not only for UNLV TV, but also for our local Las Vegas CBS affiliate. And news reporting is really, really fun. And but I've got this creative bone in me, as I've learned the past couple of years writing this novel, that more than hard news, I wanted to do something creative and fun. So I approached the director of the television station and said, hey, you know, it would be really fun. Let's create a dating game show here at UNLV, and I have the perfect host for you. So that's how it turned out, and it was a lot of fun. And I did that for about a year, and it was unprecedented. Our UNLV's first dating game show, and just a lot of fun.
So how well did it go over?
It went over well. We had no shortage of contestants. People were lining up around the block on the dating game show. There were great prizes, free dates to be had, as you know. So it was awesome.
That sounds awesome. Okay. We all love great romance stories. Angela, please share yours with us.
Well, yes, I have kind of a unique romance story. I met my husband in a true case of mistaken identity. We were both attending UNLV at the time, and he was invited by a girl to attend a lecture, and she apparently looked a lot like me with the same build, same height, same haircut. And so my husband was kept a little bit late at work that day. Well, he wasn't my husband then, but and so when he showed up to go to that lecture, he didn't want to come up to the front row because he didn't want to be rude. So he stayed in the back, and he saw the girl that had invited him sitting in the front row with the same haircut, same build, but that was me. And so he sat in the back of the classroom the whole hour thinking, oh, I'm going to go up and thank her and talk to her. So he came up after the class and said, thank you for inviting me to this class. And I turned around, and he told me that he thought, wow, that girl got a lot cuter. And then he realized, I don't think it's the same girl. So anyway, after a few, little fun exchanges back and forth, we determined that no, I was not that girl, but that we would go and play ping pong in the rec room anyway. And that's where it all started.
So you thought he was all right too, huh?
Yeah, he was pretty cute. He had this high bouncy hair. I couldn't tell if he looked like Jimmy Neutron or Ronald Reagan or what, but this really high bouncy brown hair. And I thought, he is so funny and full of energy and so cute. And I was so glad that he had mistook me for her.
That was very unique and fun. Okay. Angela, which grades in school did you teach?
Well, I only taught for one summer before I decided to start my family, but it was second grade, and it was in an inner city school. And that was really hard for me because I would think about those kids when I would come home, and they had a lot of problems, a lot of really serious problems. And that was evident the minute I walked into the classroom. There was one little girl who was standing up on a table doing this crazy dance to this really inappropriate song, and the whole class was gathered around her, and she met my eyes and looked at me, and I could tell she was just challenging me right off the bat, and I knew I had my work cut out for me. But with a lot of patience and love and just spending time with those kids, we had a fantastic time in that class. And even though it was hard, and I've never seen second graders with those kind of challenges, I mean, that's just crazy, but it was a really fulfilling and learning time for me, a really good time teaching that year.
I always got upset with my teenagers for watching soap operas because I said, nobody's life is that crazy. I lived a lot of that soap opera in the last several years of my life, and I no more am I skeptical. It is very difficult when they've had no foundation at home.
Yeah. I was a mom for a lot of those kids. I think I played that mom role, and I was happy to do it. But boy, I take my hat off to all teachers.
I do too. It's a very difficult thing, especially now in this day and age.
Yeah.
what inspired you to write Beyond? What brought that theme together?
Oh,
You want to go ahead, Tina? Go ahead.
sure. Well, first of all, Angela and I were both on this major Twilight hangover.
I read it 9 times, honestly, the whole series.
Okay, you've got me beat. You got me beat.
Talk
So we
about
were on
pathetic.
I don't know if I've met anyone who's read Twilight 9 times. So
I don't know.
so you know what I mean. You have this hangover. So we had finished the series and we were on this hangover, and we are both avid readers, and we're just searching for something that made us feel that same way, that love story that was keep you up at night, and characters that you would think about, and something that was clean and not vulgar. And we just couldn't find it. Just couldn't find it anywhere. And so that's why I think I was even cranky and thinking, like, what could we do? What could I, and that's when the idea came. But really it was to fulfill that need of not having any more Twilight to read. We wanted to provide something that was clean yet intensely romantic. We call our style clean steam, and just knew that it could be done, and just were having the hardest time finding it, and decided we would do it ourselves. So.
Oh, I kept thinking, I know how this is going to end, and then you kept surprising me. So.
Oh, good.
So it was really good. Okay, and what advice do you give to other upcoming authors?
I would say, I would share some advice that I received. I was listening to one of my favorite authors, Amy Harmon, speak, and she was talking about one of her favorite authors, and she gave this advice, and that is, when you begin writing, you just start shoveling the sand into a huge mountain. You don't worry about molding it into this perfect little castle yet. You just get moving and you shovel. She said, let it rip, go crazy, go nuts. You just write and write and write until you have this big pile of ideas, and, without belittling yourself that it's not perfect, that it's not polished. You let it rip, you be free with it, and you just let it go. And then you can start molding and perfecting what you've done. That's one way to do it. I've heard other writers say that's not the way they do it, that they have to write perfectly along the way. But I think it's especially important for beginning writers to just give yourself permission to kind of suck at first. And it's okay. And you can go back and just really tweak it and mold it and fix it later. But you can become so paralyzed by not being perfect when you start out that you won't get anywhere. So just let it rip, shovel the sand, and get going. That's what I would say.
And Catina, do you have anything to add to that?
I think she's so right. And I think we learned our lesson when we wrote our novel Beyond together. We kind of did the opposite thing. Every chapter had to be perfect before we move on. Remember, Angela?
Yeah.
And so I would just second what she said is let those creative juices flow, and don't worry about having perfection like we did with Beyond. It took a little bit longer than it probably would have had to if we had just kind of gotten that sand out there and molded it into a beautiful castle afterwards. So
how long did it take you?
Well, the idea came about a long time ago, but in that time period, we each had 2 babies. We had several moves between us. We both moved from Las Vegas. I moved to Southern California near San Diego, and Angela moved to North Carolina. And
you didn't like each other anymore?
All of that. The time of the idea to the time of, having a publishing deal was probably 7 or 8 years. But there were years that we didn't even touch it. So the actual writing, collaborating, working on the book probably took the better part of a year.
Wow. That's pretty good still. That's not really that long. So, okay. And what is your next big project? Is this going to be a series, or is it a standalone?
Yes, it will be a sequel. Our publisher has asked us for a sequel, and it comes out this spring of 2018. So that's what we have our head buried down in right now.
Super.
Manuscripts due in December, so we are busy, and super excited. I think maybe even a little bit more excited about the sequel than the original. It's together nicely, and we're really excited.
That is so exciting, because I'm going to have my new blog by then, so I'll have you both on, and we'll learn about it more.
Thank you. We'll be excited to come back.
Is there any final words you'd like to say before we sign out?
nothing more from me except for thank you. This has been so much fun. We appreciate meeting new people that are interested in Beyond and that enjoyed it. And we're just so grateful for your time and helping us spread the word. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much. And we just wanted to say, I guess I would like to say also just thank you to all the readers who've helped spread the word about Beyond. It's been so fun, as Angela said, just meeting new people and hearing how the story has impacted their lives. As you know, Luann, because you read the story, there's a character with autism. It's been really, really fun to, and maybe fun's not the word there, but I guess touching to hear personal stories from families who have their lives impacted by autism, and then fun to hear people say, show up at your door with their pitchforks and torches going, will there be a sequel, that ending? It's been a lot of fun. It's just been a lot of fun to meet new people, and we're very, very grateful for our readers and for their support and their excitement. So.
Well, I didn't want to infer anything, but I thought this would be sad if this was a standalone.
That's what we thought too. So we really wanted to make sure we made that ending be somewhat open because we have so much more story to tell, and we just couldn't end it there either.
And Catina, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people interested that you had actually experienced autism, and I think it helps people feel more able to share. Because it's just like anything. If you haven't experienced, you don't really understand.
So, yes.
And so our two wonderful hosts are donating 3 copies to 3 wonderful viewers here, and we'll be posting more on my post along with this video. And signing off now, we hope that you will explore the universe with reading. Bye-bye.
Bye.